Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wild Outdoors TV channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this is your first time or you're returning, thank you and welcome back. I hope you guys are having a great week. I hope you guys are getting excited and pumped as much as I am for this upcoming hunting season. And I hope that you guys are, if you guys have already done your hunt prep, you guys have had a successful and safe hunt prep, getting everything set up, your tree stands and all that stuff set up. If this is your first time, definitely go check some of my other videos out. If you guys like those, definitely like those in the video. Leave a comment if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, or anything like that. And please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Also, hit the notification bell to get updates when I post new content. Now that that is out of the way, this video is going to be kind of a preparation of snack sticks using some goose meat that I had from last waterfowl season. And I'm getting really excited for this upcoming hunt season. And I thought, you know what? I have a bunch of goose meat. I've never made snack sticks before. I've made summer sausage with beef, but never this. So I thought I'd take a shot at this. And I've already actually made 12 pounds of beef snack sticks. And like I said, I have a bunch of goose meat left over. And I thought, you know what? This would be a great way to utilize it during my hunts for whitetail deer and duck season and all of that. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. I'm going to kind of show you the process of how I'm doing everything, what kind of seasoning stuff I'm using. Most of it is pretty easy. The seasoning packet that I bought, the place that I bought it from, they actually had like a little cheat sheet on how to make like 25 pounds of snack sticks, and it gives you like all the measurements and recipes and or like seasoning amounts and all that stuff on how to do that. However, I'm only doing 8 pounds of goose meat to I think 1.5 pounds of beef fat. I'm actually going to be mixing it with beef fat because if you guys know anything about goose meat or even duck meat, it's pretty lean. I mean, there are some fat parts in there, but I figured I'd go ahead and add some of that for a little bit of flavor, but I wanted to try and keep it as much goose meat as possible and not mix the two. So that's what we're going to be doing. As you guys can see here, I've already started cutting up some of the some of the goose meat into like 1-inch cubes. I have this whole bowl over here that I'm going to be using, finishing up cutting this up. So I'm going to stop talking. All I'm doing here is cutting up the goose meat in about 1-inch cubes because my grinder over here is not a very big grinder, but it gets the job done, and I kind of figured it out. If I use about 1-inch cubes, maybe a little bit bigger, this grinder will handle it pretty perfectly. So cut it to whatever size you guys would like to do. If you guys try this, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know how it turns out. That's what we're going to go ahead and do now, and I will show you that in 1 second. Okay, so I already got the goose meat all cut up into cubes. And before I started the video, I went ahead and cut up all the beef fat that I have sitting out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put it into one of my bus tubs, and I'm going to mix it all together and then try and get all these chunks of beef fat blended in and mixed together with this before I grind it. That way it mixes well when I grind it. That evenly distributes the beef fat to the goose meat. So I'll show you guys that after I go ahead and run the grinder because this is going to be loud. Okay, everybody, so it is the next day. Unfortunately, while I was trying to grind all that goose meat up yesterday, I ended up running into an issue with my grinder. I wasn't sure what was going on with it. It wasn't grinding. It would I'd put some meat in there and it would start grinding it up, and then I would put meat in the grinder, and as I would, as it was trying to grind, it would stop. The auger would stop moving and nothing would happen. And then I'd stop it, I'd clear whatever was in there, and then start it back up again. It would work for a couple seconds, or maybe it wouldn't work. I wasn't sure. There's a little rubber O-ring on the back of the auger where it meets up with the teeth or the gear to spin the auger in there. That rubber O-ring or seal was all weird shaped, and it had come off. So I ended up calling it a night because it was frustrating me and I couldn't figure out what was going on with it. Cleaned everything up, and then today I actually took it apart and kind of figured, started messing with the auger to see if it was something there. And I had a little replacement gear for that. I hooked it all back up, and then once I hooked it up, I got it all figured out, fixed it. Hopefully it lasts me a little while. I went ahead and finished grinding it up, all the goose meat. I'll show you guys this right here. So I got all this delicious goose meat here. The next step in the process, or that I do, is, let me see if I can find this card. Here we go. This card that I have, that I got from Walton's. You go to waltonsinc.com. They're in Wichita, Kansas. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. It's just a place my stepdad was telling me about a while ago. And they actually have a lot of different seasoning packets. And there's pretty much, if you want to do anything like this, summer sausage, snack sticks, jerky, they have cutlery, the pellet smokers, meat grinders, sausage stuffers, casings. I mean, like, whatever you need for this kind of stuff, you name it, they pretty much have it. So I'm going to put the meat in this meat mixer that I have over here. It is a 20-pound meat mixer that I bought, I think, on sale last year towards the end of hunting season for, like, I don't know, 30 bucks or something like that, which is amazing because I've tried to make, well, when I made summer sausage, I had to hand mix everything, and when everything was really cold, you're hand mixing it, you can get it done, but it takes like 10 minutes because you will need to make sure that the packet of Sure Cure that comes with the seasoning packet is fully mixed into all the meat, and it'll help with, I think, protein extraction is what I think, but don't quote me on that. I'll have to do some more research on that. But anyway, it's just really hard to do because then once you start mixing everything, the meat gets really tacky and sticky. It'll start sticking to your fingers, and then it was on top of that really, really cold. I mean, almost frozen. And they say that's good for it. I mean, it wasn't like completely frozen, but pretty close to. So what I'll do is I'll take this, put it in the mixer. I'll add, let's see, it says here, 2 pounds of ice cold water. And then, like I said, it's for 25 pounds of meat. I still went ahead and added the 2 pounds of ice cold water in here because it's going to help take a lot of stress off of your grinder, or your sausage stuffer. There's been times where people hadn't added enough water in here, and then, like I said, the meat gets really sticky and tacky, and then your sausage stuffer has a hard time pushing those gears down, and you'll actually snap some of these teeth off of these sausage stuffers, and it's also makes it a little difficult to use the meat mixers here. This one is just like you put all the meat in it, and it's just a little wheel that you kind of turn, you just crank, and it mixes all of it in there. So one of the little tips that my stepdad was telling me about was that you could add a little bit more water, because once you put it in the, like for what I'm doing here, I'm putting it in the oven. So if you add a little bit more water into it to help ease the process of, you know, mixing it and then stuffing it into the casings, that water will get cooked out as you cook it through the process. And there is an ideal way to do this, but for me, I don't have all of the stuff as far as like a smokehouse or any of that stuff to be able to put the sausage, the snack sticks into. So what I'm doing is I'm just using my oven. I've already made half a batch of this. So this is the little snack seasoning packet. It is Willie's snack sticks. Yeah, Willie's snack stick. Comes in a big packet. This is enough to do, let's see. I'm pretty sure this is enough to do 25 pounds. It doesn't say it on here. Usually it'll say it somewhere on here how much it is. I think they even have a packet that's big enough to do 100 pounds if that's what you're going for. And then usually when you go in and pick it up, they have this little orange packet of Sure Cure. Anyway, I'm going to kind of go show you guys that real quick and get this prepped and show you guys how we're mixing it up. It's super easy to do. It's not a complicated thing, but you end up with a product that looks like this. Alright, so I've already added the water. I'm going to go ahead and just dump some of this seasoning mix in here. And then I'll just mix this. That's all I'm going to dump in there for now. I'm also going to go ahead and, so right now, while you're doing this part, the thing that you want to do too, if you're going to add anything, like I said earlier, I was going to add mustard seed. Go ahead and do that now in the process. That should be plenty. Okay, everybody, so it has been about a day and a half since I got the snack sticks all stuffed into the casings and everything like that. I did have to hold them for 12 hours, like I told you guys earlier. If you follow that recipe card, or whatever, if you find a recipe and you follow it, I would try and stick as close to that recipe as possible. I'm sure there's some things that you can kind of get away with. I'm not too sure on whether or not you can get away with not holding, or yeah, I don't know if you could get away with not holding these snack sticks for 12 hours and immediately putting them in the casing and then throwing them into the oven, or smokehouse, whichever method you guys use. I'm not sure if you could do that. What I did was use the oven to do that. Like I said, the lowest setting that my oven goes to is 170 degrees, so I propped the door open about halfway and put them in there. I will say the nice thing about doing them like this, I'll go ahead and show you guys these. So I put them, as you guys know, it took a little bit of time to do this, right, where I measured them out according to the oven rack. I just pulled one of the oven racks out and kind of tried to get a good measurement, so that way they're not too long, because I had an issue where I like looped them like in an S shape. I just made one continuous link, if that's what you want to call it, and then tried to loop it onto the oven rack, and I wasn't able to get a whole bunch of snack sticks in the oven at one time, and it took me like 3 different batches to cook in the oven, which took a long time. So this time, the second set of snack sticks that I made, if that's what you want to call it, the second set of snack sticks that I made using all that goose meat, I decided that I was going to go ahead and make, I don't know, this is probably 1.5 feet maybe. Like I said, I just pulled the oven rack out and then measured as I was stuffing the sausage into the casing, laid it out on the oven rack, and then would cut, like pull some of the casing off, cut it, and then leave it there. And then I ended up using some butcher's twine. I twist the excess, use some butcher's twine here, and just tied a double overhand knot on there on both ends, just to make sure that it wouldn't leak grease, or some of the fat content in there wouldn't leak out. This is like a PSA. If you guys are using wild game, whether it be ducks, mainly ducks, right? Mainly ducks, or waterfowl. If you guys are going to do this with waterfowl, you guys know you use shotgun shells to shoot them, so you're going to have shot. Try and go through it as best as you can to avoid having shot run through your meat grinder. It would suck to try and be enjoying one of these and then biting into a freaking piece of shot and cracking your tooth out in the deer woods, or out in the woods, whatever you're doing. So anyway, make sure you check it. So the first hour was 170 with the door halfway open, and then after that hour went up, I closed it just a little bit, so I left it a quarter of the way open at 170 for the next hour. Then after the second hour, I bumped it to, well, I left it at 170 and I closed the door all the way. And like I said, I tried to let it do its thing for another hour or two, and it was not getting up to temp. So, and like I said, I bumped the temp up to, I think I got it up to like 215, 220, might have been 220. And then, like I said, I kept checking the temperature, and finally it got to 160 internal. The last 15 to 20 minutes, part of the process says, or requires you to put the snack sticks or summer sausage in either of those cases in like a ice cold shower, pretty much. So I just used one of these. I'll show you this real quick. I used one of these bus tubs like these, which come in handy for a lot of different things. But I filled it about halfway to 3/4 of the way with some water and stuck it in my refrigerator. And I've had it in my refrigerator for like 5-6 hours that I was cooking. Well, I say 5, like 3 to 4 hours that I was cooking these snack sticks. And then once the internal temperature hit 160, I ended up just pulling them from the oven and putting them in here. Part of that is it shocks them. It'll also firm up the casing around the meat to make sure that it kind of like binds it together and holds it so you don't have it like coming apart. So anyway, as you guys can see, I got my son here. He's going to actually help me out with this next part of the process, which is pretty simple. After you get it done and you do the ice bath, as you guys could see in this, well, I don't know if you guys could see in this container. I'll show you guys real quick. So inside of this container, I have like a cookie cooling rack thing.
Yeah.
And I put the snack sticks on there so that way all that water, once I pulled them out of the water, hang on one second. Okay. Once I pulled them out of the water, I set them on top of that and put them back in a bus tub so that way all that water can drain out and they're not sitting inside of water and they can kind of dry up. I'm taking these and I've actually started cutting it, as you guys can see here. You guys should be able to see it down here. Back this up a little bit, but into sizes that are like this. And what I've done, I'll go ahead and put these away for just a second, is I know that since I can open these from the bottom and put whatever, in this case the snack sticks, in through the bottom, I don't want to fill the entire bag up to this line with snack sticks because I have to have a way to put it into the vacuum sealer and vacuum the air out and then seal it, and the sealer runs down here. So what I did was I just kind of took the snack stick and put it, like, measured where this little zip line is right here, the part that zip locks or zip seals. The zippered part of this bag is kind of the bottom right here. So where I'm putting this, I'm using this as my line. So this is kind of, I'm going to cut on this side of the line. And then I want to make sure that I leave myself enough room to be able to put this end right here on the left side, to be your guys' right side, into the vacuum sealer and be able to vacuum the air out. So I've already done that with one of them. And so all I'm doing now is using this first stick to make the cuts for the rest of them. And I have this whole tub full of them. So I'm going to go ahead and put my vacuum bags aside. This process doesn't take a lot of time. But then, like I said, you're left with, you know, some pretty decent sized snack sticks. The thing about these, tying it off too, it helps keep everything contained so it doesn't leak anywhere. But for what I'm doing, I'm not going to keep the tied in the vacuum bags. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut those off right now, just to kind of have it flat. And I'm not going to throw them away because there's still stuff, you know, sausage in here. I'm actually going to cut the tied ends off, and I'll probably either make a bag of little tiny bite pieces, or while I'm out here cooking these things, while I'm out here cutting these things, I may end up just going ahead and enjoying some delicious treats. That's it. So go ahead and put these in here. The snack bites. What are you looking for? It's so good. So freaking good. Just making sure I didn't miss any pieces that I can put in here. Like this little nugget. Okay. And this is what I was talking about. You guys end up with, it's not like completely full. Obviously they're all bunched up here. But you end up having a little bag full of those little, just bite-sized pieces that didn't make it into full-length sticks. So, So I got my little buddy here. He said he wanted to help. This is a job that he likes doing because it's super easy. So what I usually do, here, don't push onto that thing because that thing could get hot. My light died. Is put this in here for him so he doesn't have to worry about messing this part up. Ready, Drake? Come here. Go ahead and close that lid for me, please. Sometimes it helps to have two people push it down. Okay, hit the button.
Hey, I won't hit the button.
Okay. See, it's a pretty good seal. All right.